Oh my God. Barack Obama. Barack, 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 Barack. This right here is starting to get really pathetic. So as you guys come in, make sure you're hitting the like button. Make sure you're putting the BINO shields in the chat. What is going on with my internet? This is why I don't like using StreamYard, because even though I have a great internet connection right now, it's acting like I don't. That is really annoying. That is really annoying. Let's see. I literally have I literally have 491 down and 600 and 491 download, 594 upload. So StreamYard, why is my internet connection unstable? It says connection is unstable. If you're on Wi-Fi, try plugging in to your router. I'm plugged into my router. This is why I don't use StreamYard, y'all. This is precisely why I don't use StreamYard. This is pathetic. And then what's so amazing about it is they actually have the nerve to be charging people for StreamYard. So let me ask everybody, to everybody that's watching, can y'all see me clearly? If y'all can see me clearly, let me know. Said no. This is crazy. This is crazy. Let's see. Let's try this. Y'all give me one. Okay. Is that better? Is that better, guys? Let me know if it looks better. Okay. Ridiculous, bro. Ridiculous. So, if you're just coming in, make sure you guys go ahead and hit the like button. Make sure you put the BINO shields in the chat or put the fire signs in the chat. We got to talk about your boy Barack Hussein Obama this morning. I'm just gonna say it like this. I'm just gonna put it this way. Barack Hussein Obama has proven beyond a reason of a doubt that he is a scumbag. There's no other way. There's no other way to put it. He's a scumbag. Now, some of you are probably like, okay, well, angry man, why are you saying he's a scumbag? Well, this morning, I decided to write a piece, an opinion piece about Barack Obama. Let me go ahead and share the screen with you guys. Let's pull this up real quick. Some of you probably have already read it, but I'm going to share it with you guys nonetheless. So, whenever I'm, thinking about if I see something that catches my attention or I want to react to it, and I may not want to do a video about it right then, I might, put some thoughts down. You feel me? Um, use AI to clean it up a little bit. But this is what I posted. Barack Obama's fall from grace. It's becoming clearer by the day. Barack Obama is no longer the untouchable political icon he once was. The mask has slipped, and what's underneath isn't nearly as inspiring as the image that was sold to the American people for years. Recently, Obama decided to speak on the Israel-Palestine ceasefire that Donald Trump brokered, but somehow managed to do so without giving Trump a shred of credit. That's not leadership, that's ego. And it's proof that Obama's polished statesman persona was just that, a performance. The decline didn't happen overnight. We saw flashes of it when he tried to shame black men into voting for Kamala Harris, as if masculinity and independent thought were problems to be corrected. Then there was the strange comment about young boys needing a gay friend on his wife's podcast, an odd attempt to stay culturally relevant, but one that revealed just how far he drifted from reality. And let's not forget the myth of the perfect Obama marriage. For years, the media sold us an image of a flawless partnership, a power couple symbolizing unity and strength. But that image has crumbled too. Michelle's public remarks about her husband have often come across as critical rather than supportive. And her decision not to attend Trump's inauguration, leaving Barack to go alone, speaks volumes. No other first lady in modern history has done something so disgraceful and dismissive. It was a subtle yet undeniable glimpse into a relationship that's far from the fairy tale they portrayed. But this latest display takes the cake. Refusing to acknowledge Trump's historic accomplishment, brokering a ceasefire that world leaders failed to achieve, is not only classless, it's deeply petty. It all goes back to that infamous moment at the White House correspondent dinner when Obama publicly mocked Trump in front of the political elite. The camera caught Trump's face, stone cold, calculating. That was the moment the tables turned. Trump made up his mind. I'm going to become president and I'm going to do a better job than you. And he did. Now, years later, Trump achieves what Obama couldn't. And Obama can't bring himself to say his name. That's not strength. That's insecurity. Obama's shine has faded and the world is seeing the truth. He was a man built on image, not substance. And without the media's constant applause, that image has finally collapsed under its own weight. Now, the interesting thing about this is Barack Obama, there's a reason he doesn't want to give Trump credit for brokering this peace in the Middle East, something that, I mean, for my entire lifetime, no other president has been able to do that. You feel me? I remember when I was a kid, people used to say, yo, peace in the Middle East. Like there was, everybody was trying to promote peace in the Middle East, but it never happened. It never happened. So for Trump to actually accomplish something this big, And for Barack to just dismiss it, or not give him credit for it it's utterly ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous. But let's pull up what Barack Obama had to say. Let's see. Let's check out what Barack had to say about the deal. So Barack Obama, this is what he said on X. After 2 years of unimaginable loss and suffering for Israeli families and the people of Gaza, we should all be encouraged and relieved that an end to the conflict is within sight. That those hostages still being held will be reunited with their families, and that vital aid can start reaching those inside Gaza whose lives have been shattered. More than that, though, it now falls on Israelis and Palestinians, with the support of the U.S. and the entire world community, to begin the hard task of rebuilding Gaza and to commit to the process that, by recognizing the common humanity and basic rights of both peoples, can achieve a lasting peace. And that's it. That's all he said. Didn't say anything. Let me tell you something. As much as these people in the Democrat Party attempt to paint Trump as this childish man baby that, only wants to engage in pettiness, if that were true, it must be contagious. Because ever since Donald Trump has been in office, I have watched as some of the most prestigious journalists, some of the most elder statespeople, some of the most dignified and refined people behave like children. Trump's administration, Trump's presidency, the first one and this one, is proven beyond a reason of a doubt that many of you were wearing a mask. Many of you were wearing a veil. And ever since Trump has been in office, for both times, the veil has fallen. And we see you for who you are. Barack Obama, as much as you painted yourself as this classy statesman, this man that was above reproach, this was extremely, I'm not even going to say petty. Because it's one thing to be petty, but it's a whole other thing to just lack class altogether. The fact that you couldn't even acknowledge that Donald Trump was the one that brokered this peace, that was classless. And I'm not even going to front. I'm extremely disappointed, because you claim that Donald Trump is petty. You claim that he's immature. You claim he's all these things. Then why aren't you behaving better if that's what you think he is? Why are you also behaving as a petty, immature child? But I get it. I get it. Because for those of you that don't realize it, Barack Obama has always been petty. He's always been petty. The problem is we weren't paying attention to his level of pettiness. We weren't paying attention to it because we were just so infatuated and so fascinated with the fact that he was the first quote unquote black president. So we let it slide. But I want you to check this out. Because sometimes when you rewatch things with fresh eyes, you can see what you didn't see before. Because back then, I guarantee you, there was some kind of spell over the American public and you didn't see it. But we're going to watch it now with fresh eyes after the glitz and glamour and the novelty and the magic of Obama has abated. Let's look at this and see how petty Obama was and still is.
It is wonderful to be here at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. What a week. As some of you heard, the state of Hawaii released my official long-form birth certificate. Hopefully, this puts all doubts to rest. But just in case there are any lingering questions, tonight, I'm prepared to go a step further. Tonight, for the first time, I am releasing my official birth video.
And of course, they immediately put the camera on Donald Trump. This is petty. And not only is it petty, but it's childish. And the irony is, and this is what I mean when I talk about rules for me, but not for thee. This is what I mean when I talk about how we play favorites. This is some juvenile ass high school shit. But because Barack Obama is the favored one, he's the popular kid. You ever see those movies where the popular kid can get away with bullying people and nobody seems to care, but the moment the person that's being bullied retaliates, all of a sudden they're the worst person on planet Earth? You feel me? Like Flash Thompson can beat up Peter Parker mercilessly for his entire tenure in high school. The moment that Peter Parker gets blessed with superpowers, here comes Uncle Ben. With great power comes great responsibility. And yeah, I'm going to be greatly responsible for the power that I use when I kick Flash's ass all up and down the high school hallway. Like, this is the crap they teach us, right? So Obama's being extremely petty right here, being extremely childish. Did anybody say it was childish back then? No. Did anybody say it was petty? No. Did anybody say it was beneath him? No. They laughed. It was funny. But now that the tables have turned and Donald Trump is in his position and he's putting sombreros on Hakeem Jeffries, all of a sudden it's petty. All of a sudden it's not funny. All of a sudden it's beneath a president to crack jokes on people.
Now, I warn you, no one has seen this footage in 50 years. Not even me. But let's take a look.
Bro, how childish is this? How childish is this? Like, seriously, how freaking childish is this? And you want to know what's funny? What's funny is the irony of it. What's funny is the irony of it. The irony is you are the Lion King, bruh. That's what's so funny. You actually are the Lion King. You're the king of lion. Like, real shit. You know, that was a little, you got a little Freudian slip in there, buddy.
Oh, well. Back to square one. I want to make clear to the Fox News table, that was a joke. my real birth video.
You know what I mean? It's funny. It's funny when they're making fun. When they're making fun of Trump, when they're making fun of Fox News, when they're making fun of conservatives, it's hilarious. Everybody has to have a sense of humor. But when Donald Trump got elected, he started dropping them tweets left and right. When he started dropping them tweets on their head, it wasn't funny then. No. And look, the reason why this annoys me is because all my life I've gotten the Donald Trump treatment. All my life, no matter where I've been, there's always somebody like a Barack Obama that gets away with everything. I don't care what they do. They always get away with it. And when they set their sights on somebody like me, or somebody like a Donald Trump that's going to retaliate, for some odd reason, we are always looked at like we're wrong. It's amazing. It's amazing.
It was a children's cartoon. Call Disney if you don't believe me. They have the original long form version. Michelle Bachmann is here, though, I understand. And she is thinking about running for president.
And he's so goofy, he don't even realize. Like, look, he obviously never read the 48 Laws of Power, right? He obviously never read it, because the 48 Laws of Power, one of the laws tells you, be careful who you offend. And I don't care what nobody says. I do not care what anybody says. I believe that it was at that dinner that Donald Trump decided to run for president. I don't care what nobody say. You feel me? Because if I was in his position and I was at that dinner and you're trying to shine on me like that, it's like, oh, okay. I got you, bro. Just stick around. Stick around, bruh. Oh, what a day when the tables will turn.
Which is weird, because I hear she was born in Canada. Yes, Michelle, this is how it starts. There's a vicious rumor floating around that I think could really hurt Mitt Romney. I heard he passed universal health care when he was governor of Massachusetts. Someone should get to the bottom of that. And I know just the guy to do it. Donald Trump is here tonight. Now, I know that he's taken some flack lately, but no one is happier, no one is prouder to put this birth certificate matter to rest than the Donald. And that's because he can finally get back to focusing on the issues that matter. Like, did we fake the moon landing?
And everybody's laughing like that's funny. Now, I'm not even going to go down the rabbit hole of the moon landing. But if you got common sense, you already know, right? But it's like, okay, let's put the camera on. Like, this was a moment where it was like, okay, I'm the president, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make fun of Donald Trump. Like, first of all, imagine inviting somebody to a dinner just to try to roast them, on an ambush. Like I'm gonna just go in, and when we go in on him, and it's planned, because look, they put the camera on him. They put the camera on him. This is some high school ass mean girl shit. That's right. Barack Obama right now is acting like a mean girl. That's what's so funny about this shit. At this moment, Barack Obama he's one of the guys from the movies. He's right in this moment. He's Flash Thompson. In this moment, he's Biff from Back to the Future. Like, and nobody noticed this. Nobody noticed this. He was being a complete jerk. And everybody thought it was funny. But the thing about it is, Donald Trump is better at it. He's better at it. He's better at, yo, let me tell you something. I guarantee you that if they thought for 1 second, if they could rewind time, if Barack could rewind time and say, if somebody told him, well, the reason why Trump got elected was because of this. This was the spark that started the chain of events that have led to the MAGA movement. If somebody told Barack Obama that this is what led to all of that, I guarantee he wouldn't have did it. Because what Donald Trump has unleashed on them since this makes this look like it makes it look like some minuscule, insignificant shit.
What really happened in Roswell? And where are Biggie and Tupac?
And look, and Trump, he's smiling. He's laughing like, yeah, buddy. Okay. Real funny.
All kidding aside, obviously we all know about your credentials and breadth of experience. For example, no, seriously, just recently in an episode of Celebrity Apprentice at the steakhouse, the men's cooking team did not impress the judges from Omaha Steaks. And there was a lot of blame to go around, but you, Mr. Trump, recognized that the real problem was a lack of leadership. And so ultimately you didn't blame Little John or Meatloaf. You fired Gary Busey. And these are the kind of decisions that would keep me up at night. Well handled, sir. Well handled.
Now, needless to say, this didn't age well for anybody that's calling it right. For anybody that's calling it right, this didn't age well. Because I could argue that the reason the country has literally gone to shit is because of policies implemented by Barack Obama. If you go back and look historically, before Barack Obama, you didn't have this epidemic of mental illness in this country. And you know what I'm talking about. Barack Obama also implemented things into the educational system that has literally created an entire class of Americans that hate America. things that he have implemented into the educational system that has created, quite frankly, a bunch of commies. And to top it off, when you compare presidencies, Barack Obama's presidency does not measure up to Donald Trump in no way, shape, or form. Donald Trump has gotten more accomplished in 1 year than Barack Obama has his entire 8 years. And for those of you that want to say, that's not true, look, check this out. You need to look past Barack Obama playing basketball, having Stevie Wonder at the White House, dancing, the fact that he has a chocolate black wife, right? You need to look past all of that stuff. You want to know who issued record funding for HBCUs? Not this guy. Donald Trump. You want to know who pardoned countless black people and signed the First Step Act, which freed thousands of prisoners that were nonviolent offenders, 90% of which were black. Not this guy. And most recently, who is the president that brokered peace in the Middle East? Not this guy. Which reminds me, where is all of the Free Palestine people at? I mean, why aren't y'all celebrating in the media the same way you were protesting and cutting up? Where you at?
Say what you will about Mr. Trump. He certainly would bring some change to the White House. Let's see what we've got up there.
Yeah, he definitely brought change to the White House. He brought change to the White House. He brought change to America. And ultimately, he brought change to the world because he was actually able to accomplish something that you and your predecessors were not able to, Barack Obama. He was able to broker peace in the Middle East. He is the first president that we have ever had, far as I know, that's not a war hawk. But needless to say, Barack Obama is not finished. And there's a reason why he didn't want to give Trump credit. The reason why he didn't want to give him credit for this ceasefire is because the Democrats were gearing up for some new effery. They're gearing up for some new effery. Barack Obama recently had an interview, and in the interview, he said some interesting things. And this is the entire reason why he did not want to give Donald Trump props. He didn't want to give him props for this ceasefire because he was going to do this interview and trash Donald Trump. And it would have looked very dubious. It would have looked very contradictory for him to sit up here and talk about Donald Trump as an authoritarian right after he praises him for brokering peace. And by the way, Donald Trump has to be the worst fascist ever in the history of fascism. He has to be the worst authoritarian in the history of authoritarianism. Somebody should really tell him, like, Donald Trump, you're not supposed to be brokering peace. You're supposed to be inciting wars. You're supposed to be starting shit, not ending shit. But check this out.
Vice President J.D. Vance signaling over the weekend that the president was not opposed to invoking the Insurrection Act in his effort to deploy the U.S. military in American cities for law enforcement purposes. Former President Barack Obama weighing in today, he had a warning about what he believes would be the broader consequences of that action.
When you have military that can direct force against their own people, that is inherently corrupting. When you have
when you have military, he's going to be a real delight when he's, you know, a little older and has dementia. He's going to be really delightful. Like, I'm so sick of him, y'all have no idea. I'm so sick of this dude, y'all have no freaking idea, bro. I just want him to go away, bro. Do y'all remember back in the day when presidents were no longer in office? You rarely saw them. Do y'all remember that? How many of you remember that? When a president left office, you didn't see him again. The only time you saw him is if he happened to pop up, you know, at a McDonald's with a hat on and some shades because he wanted a freaking Big Mac. Like, you didn't see them. You didn't see them, bruh. They were somewhere chilling. But this dude, man, every time, like, the Democrats, they gotta cart this dude out every time with his big ass ears and try to get him to I guess garner support. He don't got no magic no more. His juice is gone. He has no juice. And the reason why he ain't got no juice is because you've oversaturated the market with him. You've put him out there too much. And because you've put him out there too much, see, before he was polished. You understand? His script and speech writers gave him, you know, that's the whole reason why you see him, you know, searching for his thoughts. He's trying to remember what they told him to say. He's whenever you see these occasions where you have ICE agents and military forces, like, remember the script. But see, now that he's no longer president and the pressure is off, he's saying how he really feels. And there's the mistake. There's the mistake. He's screwing up. He's screwing up. Screwing up.
military that can direct force against their own people, that is inherently corrupting. When you have
What's all over the news? What's all over the news? Even TMZ reported it. What is all over the news that TMZ reported? D'Angelo Pet. Somebody do me a favor. The person Fabian K, kick that person out of my chat room, please. Kick that person out of my chat room. Thank you. I knew it was something that didn't have nothing to do with what we talking about. I knew it was something that had absolutely nothing. This is why you can't do shows like this if you have black people in your audience. This is why you can't do shows like this. You cannot do political shows. You cannot do serious topics if you have Negroes in your chat room. You can't do it. You can't do it. How many times have y'all seen me doing a show about something serious and cats want to bring up the topics that, bro, if it's true that he actually passed away, because sometimes you have people come in here and say stuff and it don't be true. If it's true that he actually passed away, we can talk about that later. We can talk about that later on the main channel. We trying to get to this political news because Barack Obama has got some goofy shit up his sleeve, and I don't think anybody's paying attention to it. I don't think anybody's paying attention to it. He's got some goofy shit up his sleeve, and we gotta address it. Now listen to what Barack Obama is saying here. Because he's trying to they've got him promoting Proposition 50 for California, which has something to do with something to do with trying to offset the amount of seats that the Republicans just got, right? So it's some kind of tactic to try to combat the gerrymandering that the Republicans have just engaged in, as if, you know, the Democrats haven't been gerrymandering for I don't know how long, right? But check out what he says.
Looks like a deliberate end run around not just a concept, but a law that's been around for a long time, posse comitatus, that says, you know, you don't use our military on domestic soil unless there's an extraordinary emergency of some sort.
There is an extraordinary emergency. You have mayors and governors harboring illegal immigrants and refusing to adhere to federal law. That is an emergency, Barack.
That when you see an administration suggest that ordinary street crime is an insurrection.
Wow. Wow, really? Really? He said when you see an administration say that ordinary street crime is an insurrection, isn't that the same thing they did on January 6th? Isn't that the same exact thing they did on January 6th?
Or
a terrorist act.
Or a terrorist act.
Mm.
You know, that is a genuine effort to weaken how we have understood democracy.
All right, joining us now in the arena, CNN legal analyst Elliot Williams and CNN Chief National Affairs Correspondent Jeff Zeleny are here. Scott and Jamal remain with us as well. The text chain is also joining us there on the left side of your screen. They're going to have additional analysis for you while we continue to chat here. Jeff Zeleny, you covered Obama's entire campaign, right? And I'm struck by the contrast of the candidate that we saw in 2008 and the energy there and sort of the laconic stylings of the now former president and the way he is coming across. He has not said a lot. That was more than really he has said in the past about the country, the president, and what he clearly seems to think is a slide toward authoritarianism. What do you make of his decision to kind of enter the chat in this way, so to speak, and the message that he has?
Look, he's been doing it with increasing frequency after being relatively silent throughout much of the first Trump administration. Obviously, during the Biden years, it was a little awkward for him to speak out. He's been speaking out much more this year, I think, than he probably has over the last almost 8 years combined. Look, he came across as more a professorial, the professorial Barack Obama, the a little bit above it, taking a look at it. What I was most struck by was his
Obama has never been no damn Professor Obama. Seriously? Professor Obama. That's what you got. Yo, the way CNN kisses, you know what?
Is sort of admonition to progressives. And that reminds me of something that we heard from him actually pretty frequently. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. He said this, he said, I'd say you can't just be a scold all the time. And he said progressives have a holier than thou superiority. So yes, he has some strong words to say for President Trump and the state in which the country finds itself, but also a little bit of tough medicine for Democrats and progressives as well. So I thought that was that's probably his biggest contribution to the chat, if you will, as Democrats try and rebuild themselves and rebuild their party out of the wilderness. He's trying to be pretty, trying to put his thumb on the scale in terms of the direction of the party.
Is he right, Jamal?
Well, first of all, I think he's back in like his office. What's with the muted tan tones? The Oval Office looked that way.
So I mean, it's like
I
the
never
beige
liked it.
suit became a room.
I never liked it. Listen, he is saying what is on a lot of people's minds about getting out there and talking about.
Hurry up! I
the
want to hear what
increasing
Scott's gonna
authoritarianism
say.
that people feel is happening in the country.
Hurry up!
You know, one thing about Barack Obama today is that he has a lot more freedom to be able to speak out. You know, he's a president, so he has immunity. So Donald Trump actually can't attack Barack Obama with his legal forces the way he's doing with other political opponents. That's not insignificant.
Okay, first of all, you bald-headed moron. Donald Trump is not attacking people that are his political opponents. Okay? They're getting indicted because they committed crimes, you jackhole.
And so the president, I think, has to step up and speak out in a way that maybe some other Democrats won't be able to. But I did learn this when I worked for Bill Clinton as a kid, which is it takes a horse to beat a horse. And I think this is what Barack Obama is talking about. Put your own ideas on the track, get them out there, let people judge.
He looks weak. I don't know if anybody else has noticed this. Look at him. Look at him. He looks weak and unimposing. He looks like an elderly man that is. He look frail. That's all I'm saying. He looks frail.
Put your own ideas on the track, get them out there, let people judge them versus Donald Trump's, not just be a scold about how bad Trump is.
Scott?
Come on, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, he's been the most hyper political and hyper partisan post president we've ever had. He's still acting that way. They're not over the fact that Donald Trump won the national popular vote last year, and they keep warning about the same things that they were warning and fussing about during the campaign, to which the American people then responded to. I think Donald Trump is executing every part of his agenda in almost exactly the way that he promised he was going to, up to and including enforcing laws in the United States that have been on the books for a very, very long time that his predecessor chose simply not to execute. You throw that on top of the fact that he's having this extraordinary success on the world stage, and I just think Democrats from Obama on down are having a heck of a time understanding where they went wrong and how Donald Trump has captivated a nation and now the entire world.
Elliot, how do you see this from a legal perspective?
Well, I think there's no doubt that authoritarianism is on the rise around the globe. Just look at the kinds of folks who have taken power in the last decade, from Belarus to El Salvador, Bukele, and Viktor Orban in Hungary, and on and on and on. They also happen to be often folks that the president speaks about favorably. Like that's a fact. That's not a criticism of Donald Trump. And I just think the kinds of things that
You want to know what amazes me? What amazes me is that the moment Donald Trump is president, all of a sudden diplomacy is just out the window. If Donald Trump actually listened to them, because they're trying to set him up. If Donald Trump actually listened to them, he would hate every other world leader of every other country. If he meets with Xi Jinping, whatever his name is, or he meets with Putin, oh, they're friends and they're buddy and they're chummy and da 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 da. It's ridiculous. If you're a president, you're a leader of the free world, even if you are at odds with another country, you still have to have some sort of communication. The lines of communication have to be open between you and the leader of that country, even if you don't like him, even if you don't agree with, you know what I'm saying, the way they see things.
Have made those men so powerful, the kinds of things we ought to be careful about embracing here in the United States, like firing prosecutors, and some of the other acts that.
And by the way, you milk dud head clown, a lot of those authoritarians that were on the rise, you know when they gained the most power? When Joe Biden was in office. See, they never want to talk about that. They never want to talk about how a lot of these individuals that are running these countries actually gained a significant amount of power while Joe Biden was in office.
Might seem good and might
power that they would have not have gained if Trump had been in office.
Seem wonderful on a gut level to many people, but are profoundly dangerous for the rule of law in the country. And I just think when you strip down the politics out of Obama's statements, like he's not making an untrue point about authoritarianism around the world.
I can't with these dudes, bro. I can't. These bought and paid for empty suits. I can't, bro. I can't, like, because they're so full of shit. They're so full of shit. Like, all they do is sit around, like, trying their best to justify bullshit. That's all they do. That's all they do. All they do is sit around trying their best to justify bullshit and trying to make it seem like they're not the communist goofies. You feel me? But yeah, this is but surprisingly, I will say this. Surprisingly, CNN did actually call out Obama. I was shocked. They called him out. Let me see if I can find the video where CNN actually called out Obama. Is this it? Yeah, this is it right here.
CNN has spectacularly and surprisingly slammed Barack Obama.
Honestly, it's not unfair to say if President Obama is going to write a whole post about a peace deal, maybe he should acknowledge the president that brokered it.
If Donald Trump gets a peace deal, he deserves the credit.
The criticism came after the former president read a letter.
Yeah, you want to know why? You want to know why they don't? You want to know why the Democrats fight so hard not to give Donald Trump credit? Especially Obama, because Obama's their golden boy, right? The reason why is because the moment that the Democrats, the mainstream media, many of these talking heads the moment they give Donald Trump credit for anything, okay, it's gonna, the chain reaction is some of the average, everyday American people, their Trump derangement syndrome will start to lessen. See, one thing that I know about Trump derangement syndrome, in order for it to be effective, you have to keep applying pressure. It's kind of like the human body. If you're poisoning the human body, the more you poison it, the more the decline of the body's health is going to be. But the moment you stop giving it the poison, now it has an opportunity to heal itself. And that's Trump derangement syndrome. If they do not continue to apply pressure, and when I say pressure, I don't mean pressure on Trump. I mean pressure on the American public to hate Trump. If they don't continue to apply that pressure, what happens is the American people will get distracted. They'll get focused on something else. And after a while, the Trump derangement syndrome will slowly go away. And they can't do that. They can't do that. Like, and even with Abby Phillips saying that, I'm pretty sure it damn near broke her just to say that.
Lengthy post on X that celebrated the end of the war but gave no recognition of Donald Trump's pivotal brokering of the deal. The post read, "After 2 years of unimaginable loss and suffering for Israeli families and the people of Gaza, we should all be encouraged and relieved that an end to the conflict is within sight, that those hostages still being held will be reunited with their families, and that vital aid can start reaching those inside Gaza whose lives have been shattered. More than that, though, it now falls on Israelis and Palestinians, with the support of the US and the entire world community, to begin the hard task of rebuilding Gaza, and to commit to a process that, by recognizing the common humanity and basic rights of both people, can achieve the lasting peace." Donald Trump Jr. lashed out the post, cheekily adding, "I'll finish it for you. Thank you, Donald Trump." Online commentators were left shocked that CNN called out the former president, with this person saying, "CNN calling out Obama, pigs are flying." And this person agreed, saying, "Hell just froze over." In addition to Obama's refusal to acknowledge Trump's part in the peace deal, Anthony Blinken also tried to undermine Trump, which the president called a joke.
And they were in places that you don't want to know about. Deep.
Some of the top Biden administration folks who were there, like Anthony Blinken, seem to want some credit for the peace deal. Blinken says it's good that President Trump adopted and built on the plan that the Biden administration developed. What do you think about that?
Everybody knows it's a joke. Look, they did such a bad job. This should have never happened. This wouldn't have even happened. That was weak leadership, terrible. And the same thing with Russia, Ukraine. If just a decent president, not a great president like me, not a great president. If a decent president was in, you wouldn't have had the Russia-Ukraine. And this is, I would say, even more so. This was bad policy by Biden and by Obama. Remember when Bibi came and he begged that you not do what they were doing with Iran? You remember that, right? Begged them. And they wouldn't even listen to him. Everything they did was the opposite of what you should have done. And it's nice that they try and take a little credit. That was years ago, and the mistakes were made years ago. And it was both by Biden and Obama.
And whilst Obama and Blinken continued to ignore President Trump's groundbreaking strides forward, another former Trump rival is taking the high road. Hillary Clinton praised Trump for the peace deal.
It's a really significant first step, and I really commend President Trump and his administration, as well as Arab leaders in the region.
Now, you want to know the reason why Hillary Clinton came out and gave Donald Trump his props? Because Hillary Clinton knows how to play the game better than Barack Obama does. That's why. Hillary Clinton ain't crazy. She knows how to play the game better than Barack Obama does. It doesn't mean she likes Trump. It doesn't mean she even wants to give him credit, because I guarantee you she doesn't. But it's smart politically. It's smart politically, whether people want to admit it or not, because it makes her, in fact, it's really predatorial, because it makes her look less petty than Barack Obama and any of the other Democrats that don't want to give him credit. It actually makes her look good.
And for making the commitment to the 20-point plan and seeing a path forward for what's often called the day after.
And the mainstream media seemingly.
And like I said, I'm not surprised, because Hillary's crafty. Hillary is crafty. You feel me?
Have no choice but to congratulate Trump on brokering the deal.
We've heard it again and again from a number of people today, really giving credit to President Trump for getting this deal over the finish line. What are you hearing from your sources with regard to President Trump's role in getting both parties to sign off on at least the first phase of this peace plan?
Well, certainly this is an enormous moment for the world, but also for this administration, a big win for the president, who has been very personally involved in this, Lindsay.
MSNBC doubled down on the praise.
And Joe Biden could never do that. And Donald Trump was able to do it and did it at the decisive moment when he said, essentially, this war must end.
And Donald.
Oh, my God. Some of them, it looks like they're about to choke on their pride. Jesus. The Washington Post. Jesus. The Washington Post columnist on MSNBC giving Donald Trump props. Woo.
When he said, essentially, this war must end.
And Donald Trump himself acknowledged the unity across political lines that this peace deal has brought.
A very special time, and I guess if you read your own papers and your own networks, everybody's very excited about this moment in time. So I'll see you on the plane. I think you're traveling with us, but this is a very special event. They had 500,000 people yesterday and today in Israel.
I don't know what's going on with this umbrella, man. This part of the umbrella looks flimsy down here, man. I need y'all at the White House to get it together. Get it together. Get my guy a better umbrella, man. In fact, one of you should be holding the umbrella for him. What's going on?
And also the Muslim and Arab countries are all cheering. Everybody's cheering at one time. That's never happened before. Usually if you have one cheering, the other isn't. The other is the opposite. This is the first time everybody is amazed and they're thrilled, and it's an honor to be involved. And we're going to have an amazing time, and it's going to be something that's never happened before. So I'll see you on the plane, and we're going to have a good time. Okay.
He said it's an honor to be involved, even though he brokered it. But they try to say Donald Trump has no humility. He said it's an honor to be involved. But they're not going to give him credit. They're not going to give him credit, man.
Hey, Peter, nice to see you. Thank you, everybody. See you in a little while.
And Trump is right, with celebrations breaking out on the streets of Gaza over the weekend.
Now, you see right here in Gaza, they're celebrating. Why aren't the protesters here in America celebrating? Why aren't the protesters here in America celebrating? All of you that were protesting Free Palestine, why aren't you celebrating? I'll tell you why. Because many of you in this country didn't really care about that. It was just the hot button topic that you could use to as the excuse to engage in civil unrest. That's all it was. All it was your excuse to run through the streets, cutting up and screaming how much you hate Donald Trump. That's all it was. You didn't care about that war. You didn't care about those people over there. That's the main reason why whenever y'all came to my channel talking about are you going to talk about the conflict over it? No, I'm not going to talk about it because you don't care about it. You expect me to believe as some of you new age Americans, and I'm talking about you new age Americans that believe you can be a communist and an American at the same time. I'm talking to you. Do you think for 1 second that I believe that you care about some people on the other side of the globe when you don't even give a damn about the people that live next door to you? You'll step over a bum on the sidewalk in San Francisco on your way to Starbucks to get whatever bullshit latte that you're about to drink, and you'll sit in the damn coffee shop with the rest of your hipster doofus friends talking about the conflict in Palestine. You literally walked over a bum. You didn't give a damn about him. What makes me think you care about somebody on the other side of the globe? You don't. You don't. It's posturing. It's virtue signaling on steroids. That's all it is. And it's a convenient excuse for you to trash America and to trash the president of America, who is currently Donald Trump. Let's be real.
But an end to the war and the release of hostages is not enough for activists of the West, with pro-Palestine protests continuing across the globe despite the peace deal being made, like in Montreal, Canada, where Antifa was chanted.
Long live Antifa! 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 Antifa!
This commentator said, pro-Palestinian Islamists take over the streets of Montreal, Canada. Despite the war being over, they say their work is not done and the protests will continue. It was never about Palestine. It's about destroying the West.
See? They said the quiet part out loud. It was never about, look, let me pull this up so y'all can see this. Pro-Palestinian Islamists take over the streets of Montreal, Canada. Despite the war being over, they say their work is not done and the protests will continue. It was never about Palestine. It's about destroying the West. It was never about Palestine. It's about destroying the West. I told y'all, this ain't got nothing to do with them feeling bad for people that are in conflicts or people that are in wars. That's not what this is. They are looking for excuses. This is the reason why Donald Trump sending the National Guard or sending whoever to whatever state is drastically important. We can't listen to Obama. We can't listen to the Democrats because the people that are in this country, in my opinion, are insurgents. The people that are starting these protests that are really riots, that's really just calculated civil unrest, they are using any conflict they can in order to be disruptive because the entire point is to destabilize the United States of America, to destroy the West. And when I'm talking about the West, I'm talking about our way of living. This is why it's laughable whenever you see Americans agreeing with these lunatics, agreeing with these terrorists. It is hilarious because you don't even realize. What do you think is going to happen if all of a sudden the West starts to operate like the East? Especially Middle Eastern countries. If the West, you literally have people of the Islamic faith trying to convert the West into an Islamic style country. And you got all of you progressives running around here condemning capitalism, condemning the patriarchy, condemning the American way, and promoting that. Do you think you're going to be able to do all of the stuff that you're doing right now? If this country was taken over by a more Islamic style type of ideology, do you think they're going to let you have your pronouns then? Do you think they're going to let you say that you were born something else other than what you are? Do you think you're going to be able to have your feminism? Do you think you're going to be able to do any of that? That's why this is so hilarious. The amount of Americans today that are lost, just lost mentally, all of the things, all of the freedoms that you enjoy. Whenever you hear Donald Trump, whenever you heard George Bush Jr. said, they hate us for our freedom, he wasn't lying. Whenever you hear these patriotic Americans that you want to call racist, because let's be real about it. A lot of you progressives, especially black progressives, you associate American patriotism with racism. Let's just be real. Let's just be real. If you see a flag outside of somebody's house, you assume they're racist if they're white. Let's be real, right? But the freedom that these flag-waving patriots talk about, it's the freedom you have to say that you have different pronouns. It's the freedom to say you were born in the wrong body. It's the freedom for you to live the lifestyle you want to live. It's the freedom for you to practice whatever religion you want to practice, or to not practice a religion at all. It's the freedom to disagree with what Donald Trump is doing or saying, and to be able to vocally say that. It's the freedom to be a Democrat or a Republican or neither. It's the freedom to be a conservative or liberal or neither. It's the freedom to be on the left or the right or neither. And I got news for you. If some of these other countries have their way, because the only reason they're trying to destabilize us is because they want the top spot. And they can't have the top spot as long as America has it. So they have to deconstruct America. But if one of these other countries gets their way, all of them freedoms that you enjoy, you won't have them anymore. You won't have them anymore. You won't have them anymore. You won't be able to do any of that stuff. You won't be able to do any of that stuff, because guess what? The places that you're promoting and protesting for, many of those places are homophobic. Many of those places are racist. Many of those places do not, they are anti-feminist. So I don't know what y'all think y'all are doing. You're really squandering and taking for granted the closest thing you got to a free country, the closest thing you got to a decent life. I don't understand it. You're gonna let these Democrats and these progressives and these talking heads trick you out of your position. You feel me? Because trust and believe, there's people in other countries right now, they wish they could be here in America and do what they want to do and live how they want to live. There's women in the Middle East that wish they was in America, that they wasn't under Sharia law. There's people in other countries that want to live a certain lifestyle, and they can't live it because if someone finds out they're living that lifestyle, they'll literally execute them. And every time I look up, you people in this country got a nerve to talk shit about the country. You got a nerve to burn Old Glory. It don't make no sense. It don't make no sense. See, I'm not stupid. I know what I enjoy in this country, in spite of its flaws. In spite of its flaws, I know this is the freest country in the world. And the reason I know this is the freest country in the world is because no other country would let illegal immigrants come into this country and then protest being threatened with being kicked out of the country by waving the flag of the country that they don't want to go back to. No, there's nowhere else you can do that. Maybe Canada, but Canada's goofy. We don't give a shit what they doing up there. This is the only country where you can break into the country illegally. And then when you're threatened with deportation, you can protest in the streets because you don't want to leave by waving the flag of the country you don't want to go back to. That's how much freedom we got. We have so much freedom in this country that it gets to the point where it becomes ridiculous. It gets to the point where it becomes stupid. That's how much we got. We got, as cats would say back in the 80s, we got stupid freedom over here. Let's get to these super chats, man. Shout out to my man, King Cato. He says, support, brother. Appreciate you. Shout out to Abba's Child, said, good day, AM in chat. Appreciate you. Shout out to Chip Burner, said, nobody listens to Obama. He just says what everyone wants to hear. If Obama told black folk to exercise, they would ignore him. Oh, my God. Shout out to West Coast Creole, said a little something for this morning's word. Shout out to Rob, appreciate you. Shout out to Bubba T, says support. Shout out to Loaded Locks Gaming, appreciate you, broski. Let's see who else we got. Who else we got? Let's see. Who is this right here? Shout out to Teresa. Appreciate you on the PayPal side of the game. Let's see who else we got. Shout out to my man Gongu. Gongu said D'Angelo died this morning, stage 4 cancer. That is horrible. That is horrible. Rest in peace to D'Angelo. And like I said to everybody watching earlier, like when we're doing like the street conservative, we want to try to stay on topic, but you know, shout out to Gongu for sending us that. That's unfortunate if D'Angelo passed away. Rest in peace. We'll probably talk about it later on the show on the main channel. Shout out to Stan, said we got that. We got them stupid dope moves, Freedom. Yeah, bruh. Yeah, like Chucky, we got them stupid dope moves, bro. But appreciate you, Gongu. Shout out to 63rd Samurai, said much too much. Appreciate you. Shout out to Dog Power. And shout out to D-Rock Den. He said, let's go. Appreciate everybody for contributing to the show. We're going to see what's up with Obama's shenanigans and his chicanery as it continues on. You feel me? But to everybody, I appreciate y'all for tuning in for another episode of the Street Conservative News. Shout out to everybody in the building. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button on your way out. Make sure you're dropping those BINO shields in the chat on your way out. And by the way, let us know what you thought about the show. We really appreciate the feedback. But with that being said, we're going to get up out of here, and I'm going to holler at y'all later on this evening. Deuces.